The Influencer's Edge is brought to you by the Rapid Sales Accelerator. If you're ready to skyrocket your sales by 30% or more in just 90 days, then you need to claim your free training right now. You'll learn 4 words that will compel your prospects to trust you like they were children within the first 3 to 5 minutes of any conversation across any platform and any medium. You'll learn how to give your prospects objection amnesia, to crush objections like, I need to talk to my spouse, or I need more time to think it over, or it's too expensive. If you'd like to claim your free training now, go to www.paulrossbook.com. Do it before your competition does it now. Welcome to the Influencer's Edge. This is the place where you come to get the latest breakthroughs, cutting-edge insights, tools, and techniques to leapfrog over the pack in sales, persuasion, and influence. Be sure you visit our website at www.theinfluencersedge.com. And while you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now sit back, tune in, and enjoy today's episode. All right, welcome back to the Influencer's Edge. This is the show that disconnects the dots. Say it with me, audience. Colors outside the lines and thinks outside the box. Today's guest, in addition to being very flamboyant, I love how you're dressed, is Joe Self. Hello, Joe Self.
Hey, Paul Ross, how are you?
I love your outfit. You're like a colorful human macaw or parrot. I love it.
Show up in the world, show up and let people know you're there, right?
I live a very small, tiny little small personality that has no persona or presence. So Joe, let's read a little bit of your bio. I'm going to blow right through it and probably pass up a lot of it. So Joe, you're a globally recognized Gallup-certified strengths coach. What in the holy Virgin Mary bubbly squirrel fart is a Gallup-certified strengths coach?
Yeah, that's the title. That's not what I identify as, but that is the title that I possess, for better or for worse. And Gallup, most people know because of the Gallup polls. They're the ones that do the surveys, they do the polls. Well, many years ago, they merged with Don Clifton, who was the grandfather of positive psychology, father of strength psychology, also had a survey business in the personality space, and they merged. So Gallup is the governing body also over strength psychology.
Okay, I'll buy that. You're a mentor, author, and strategic thought partner. As the founder of Practical Strengths LLC, you're dedicated to helping the individuals, teams, entire communities by utilizing a common language which celebrates individuals and recognizes that differences are advantages. There's a rest, but you can, ladies and gentlemen, read the show notes if you want to
They
get
can
the
read it.
bio. Screw that. I'm interested in 34 words. 34 words that can change the world. I am super skeptical, but let's get into it. Believe it or not,
Well, hopefully I can sway you a little bit by the time we finish talking today.
if I start swaying, we'll know that's either you or
Okay.
the extra cups. Look at you go, or the extra cups of coffee. I told you this would be fun. Believe it or not, 8 billion people, give or take a few, have 34 words in common. All right, pause. That's not to say they're the same language, but
No.
what are the most important? Give me 10 of the top 34 words.
Well, I mean, I can give you my 10.
All right.
Strategic, activator, maximizer, communication, ideation, woo, connectedness, command, positivity, futuristic. So there are 34 words that pertain to 4 domains that basically tell you how you are naturally wired, what motivates you, what you need, and what you want to contribute to the world.
All right, but most people are in that world are struggling just to live on $2 a day, if that.
Yeah.
So are you talking about the first world countries with people who are into entrepreneurship and success?
No,
I don't understand.
no, this is everyone. People who struggle, for me, these 34 words teach not only confidence, but tolerance all at the same time, because it allows us to look at one another more objectively and kind of go, oh, Paul's really pissing me off, but I know why. because he has this talent. And
To
now I
piss
know that
people
it's
off,
not
that
about
that is
me.
my talent.
Well, I mean, I am sure that you probably have some influencing talents, which I have several as well. So, like, I like to look at it as if somebody has analytical, they're going to look at the world through this lens that is, I need proof. I'm going to ask you a ton of questions. I'm going to act like I don't believe anything you're saying until you really give me some proof and data. And I'm going to be pretty unemotional about anything that I'm looking at. So if I don't know that you have analytical and I happen to have empathy and I'm all about feelings and impact and how it's affecting others around me, I might think, man, I don't even want to talk to Paul. Every time I do, he doubts everything I says. He constantly challenges me. And, and quite frankly, he doesn't act like he cares. That would be my perception because
Well,
that's my filter.
you're sounding like my ex-girlfriends who would also add controlling and
But that comes from talent. That all comes from talents. And our talents, here's the thing, a talent can become a strength or a talent can be our weakness as well. It's
say
double
that
edged.
again. I've always said that. Say it again.
100%. We start with a talent. The talent is the neutral descriptor. You either make that talent a strength by showing up in the right way, or you overuse it and abuse it, and it becomes a weakness and your
Absolutely.
greatest enemy. So you have to understand it well enough to understand how to wield it, right? Like you don't just pick up a weapon and start shooting randomly at things. You want to understand how to do it, where to get the best aim, how to get excellence. Otherwise, it's just chaos. So you have to really understand that. And so that objective piece comes in. And the thing is if I know, you just said, right? You'll have to question, you're going to challenge me, you're going to do all those things. That's awesome.
If I
Some
could
people
push
aren't.
the pause button, I want you to
Yeah,
complete your thought. It depends on the context. If I'm in a talking to someone who I have a loving bond with and a connection with, I'm not going to challenge them. I'm going to show empathy and ask, please help me to understand what you just said. In the
right.
context of a debate, or I'm talking to religious maniac, or someone who's I can see through and is trying to sell a con job, then I will get that way. Isn't this so? What I want to push back and challenge you is,
Okay.
isn't this contextual as far as being like very analytic and challenging? It has to do with the social context and the emotional relationship. Do you get what I'm throwing back at you?
So it's how you wield it, right? At the core, let's say you're analytical. We don't know, but let's just say you're analytical. Like at the core, you're analytical with people you care about in situations where you're comfortable, in situations where you don't feel stressed or threatened. You're going to come across with, help me understand. Tell me where you've learned this from. I want to know more. With somebody who's antagonizing you and you feel stressed, that same thing is going to be like, oh, really? And where did you hear that? What's your proof? Where did you find it out? Right.
You
So it's the
even got
exact
my
same
tone.
talent, but it's the space that it's in. So, yes, it is contextual, but that's the intentionality of how we wield what naturally wires us and
Now,
understanding the core of it.
wouldn't you say that most people don't have enough self-understanding to even comprehend the context
Correct.
in which they do
That's
these
why
things?
this assessment is amazing and it changes everybody's lives once they take it. Not everybody's. I'm going to tell you, there's some people that actually get their talents and go, ugh, I hate these. This is everything that's wrong with me.
So
So, like, it's not.
help us understand how this assessment works.
So there is an online assessment. It used to come from the book Now Discover Your Strengths. It's moved online. It has been for years. Marcus Buckingham was the one who wrote Now Discover Your Strengths a gazillion years ago, back in the 90s. Um, the test is now online. It's 177 questions, if I'm not incorrect. It's timed, so you only have 20 seconds to answer each question, and it's going to get the most gut response from you that it can elicit, and it has like a 74% accuracy rate.
Forgive me, my co-host is in my lap. I don't know if you can see it.
Aww,
This
sweet.
is Clingy Kitty. Her real name is Lalele, which means to be drifting on the wind in Hawaiian, but she's also known
Aww.
as Clingy Cat. All right, so how many questions? 177?
So there's 177 questions because they will reconfirm one another. So they'll ask a question one way, and then they'll ask it another way to see if you answer it the same way. And then they have these algorithms. And the thing that's amazing about it is there's 34 talents for you to find someone out there in the world that shares the same top 5, just top 5 talents that you have, statistically speaking, is 1 in 278,000. And to find them in the same order is 1 in 33 million.
Off. Well,
So,
let me ask you a question. If
yeah.
I'm in business, I don't want someone necessarily to have the same talents as I do. Can I give you an
Correct.
example?
Yeah.
I am very highly creative and ADD as well. I'm highly creative. I can create a vision, but execution, I suck. That's why
Yeah.
I'm an operations manager. He's very structured. He loves details. He loves execution and order. So wouldn't you say that is it as important to find people who have the same talents or have talents that are different and complement yours? And also in a romantic relationship, I don't want someone who has the same, I want someone with the same values, but not the same abilities. I would like someone who
Correct.
has
Correct.
strengths where I'm weak.
No, this is the thing. Opposites attract, and it can be proven through strengths awfully. The most successful relationships are between opposites because we complement each other's talents. Shared values obviously is something that's important. A shared vision is something that's incredibly important, but none of us are going to show up and be able to do the same things. So when you're in a relationship, whether that is a business relationship, a platonic relationship, or a romantic relationship, in that relationship, often we are going to surround ourselves with people who complement us, who don't necessarily share the same talent. They might share a few, but they won't share all of them. And in all of my years of doing this coaching, when I've worked with couples specifically or partners, the best ones are always like their top 5 is their partner's bottom. Like they really are opposite. And it's lovely to see that on a piece of paper. But what makes it successful is an appreciation for that difference. When it's not successful in a relationship is when you're like, no, this is how I see the world, and you need to see it this way too. And if I'm going to execute, you need to execute. And if you're not showing up like I'm showing up, that demand for the other to be like me is when it fails.
So the catalyst that makes this work is the willingness, the courage and clarity and willingness to look at yourself and see what's going on with you and look at yourself and see what's going on with your partner and to not be upset by their differences, but to see how they can complement yours.
Right. So I always explain this like toilet paper, right? Like people, right? Most people, not everybody. I've actually learned recently there are some people who don't care. They often have adaptability as a talent. I don't understand them. But most people have a fairly strong opinion of whether it's toilet paper over or under, right? I have been an over girl all of my life. And I was the girl for a long time that if I came into your house and your toilet paper was under, not over, I was going to do the kindness of turning it over for you because I am sure it was just an oversight or you had a fast change or you just weren't paying attention. It was not your intention to put it under. It was an oversight.
Okay.
Until one day I'm in my girlfriend's house and she goes, "Did you turn my toilet paper over?" And I said, "Well, that might have been me. I mean, I'm the only one here. So yeah, that was probably me." And she
No,
goes,
the cat did it. Always
she,
blame it on the
well, that's
cat.
what she did. She goes, "I have cats." And I went, "I have cats. What's your point?" She goes, "My cats do this." And so
Yeah.
I end up with toilet paper all over the floor. So I put it under so I can keep my toilet. And I was like, oh, I had not considered that as an option. Fair enough. Does it still bother me when I see toilet paper under? Yes. Do I change it now? No. I understand that some people might have a reason for it, even if it's not the way I would do it. So I just let it go. Now, if I'm in a relationship with someone, we're either going to have separate bathrooms, we're going to put it up vertically, we're going to find a solution, right? But I'm not going to let that be the thing that breaks us because at the end of the day, it just is.
I hope not.
But that's how our talents are too. Some things you're just not going to be able to change how you are.
Okay.
How you demonstrate it, how you use it, yes. But at the core, it is always going to be a piece of who you are, and you can't take that away from somebody. So you have to find the way to understand it, let it go, and go, that's not about me.
Yeah.
Annoying, yes, but not about me.
Yeah.
Right. So being able to let it go is really important.
And those words, let it go, is very powerful. I'll tell you, I've come to the realization, I used to beat myself about this, that I am never going to have the organizational and structural skills as some of my competition. I'm just never going to do it. It's just rather than try, people say, try, you can learn anything. I think it,
Nope.
frankly, bullshit. I think it's absolute bullshit. That's
I
why I
agree.
like having people like you on the show. It's a contrarian view to the popular thing. Just keep trying. No. Some things you need to quit and either pass on to someone who knows how to do it or just quit the whole endeavor.
See, now there's somebody else. You reminded me of my friend's mother from middle school. She always used to say, to try is to fail. Like she was embodying Yoda, I think. To try is to fail. There is only do. And I was like, well, first of all, I think you have to try and you are allowed to fail because you might discover that that is not how it works for you. But you will never know unless you try. So trying does not automatically equal failure, but it doesn't necessarily mean success either. Right. But I also don't think that you can try continually and practice and practice and practice and you'll get better. You might improve slightly, but you're going to have a lower productivity, lower efficacy, lower desire to show up. You may just end up quitting and not doing it all and thinking you're a failure when at the end of the day, you just weren't doing it the way that works for you.
You know, Joe, I was going to do my Yoda imitation. Try. There is no try. Do only. But instead,
Yeah.
I will. Well, see, I just did it.
You
You
did
know,
it anyway.
the word. I want to see how this word rings and lands with you.
Okay.
Let's try the word try and instead endeavor. I endeavor to do this because endeavor implies putting all of yourself into it without having an internal conflict. Whereas
I
try,
can work with that.
yeah,
I am in the process of, right? Like if you think of law of attraction or abundance or things like that,
oh, I
people
hate the
tell you
law
to
of
do,
attraction. Oh,
I am. You have to envision yourself exactly as you want it to be. And when you have a strategic brain like mine, my mind goes, nuh-uh, you're nothing like that. What do you
I
think? Like
love it.
I can
I
tell you.
love it.
And so what I do for that is I say, I am in the process of creating
Beautiful.
whatever or doing
Beautiful.
whatever, which allows
Beautiful.
me to accept that I'm not there yet, but I
Beautiful.
see the end in mind.
So it's motivating without being delusional. And this is why I hate
Yeah.
things like the law of attraction, because ultimately it turns the universe into your private wishing well, that it's all here so you can lose that last 10 pounds of pork off your thighs or attract your ideal partner. I don't think things work that way. I think there's a great element of randomness and chaos.
Well, I'm going to have to disagree a little bit because I do
Do it.
believe in the law of
Do
attraction,
it.
but I
Push back.
also, it's not making a wish list and then sitting down and like Netflix and chill and thinking everything's going to happen. No, you have to put effort into it. You have to align yourself with the opportunities that will bring that to you.
Gotcha.
But I do think that if you align yourself energetically with it, the chances of you bringing it are much greater
I know that. I was
than
just
doing nothing.
playing. I was
Well, no,
just
that's
playing.
fine. But I'm like, if you say,
No, no.
I know
I,
people that don't believe in it. They think I'm woo woo. And I'm like, that's fine. And then later they'll be like, wait, tell me what that like meditation practice is you do again. Because
I,
it
I'm.
could work
I
for
was just
you.
playing devil's advocate and being what my mom, may she rest in peace, called me when I was 5 years old, which is a gadfly. That's what's a
Oh,
gadfly. She said that's the fly that buzzes around the horse, annoys the hell out of it. The horse is constantly having to swish its tail and waste its energy and time. All right, but
I
enough
grew up with a
about me.
devil's advocate, so I'm always on the ready.
Enough about me. Let's ask you, what do you think about me? No, let's keep going. That's what a narcissist who's trying to be nice says. All right, so let's dive back into the 34 words. How can the second language help couples communicate better and reduce conflict and improve communication? We touched on that, but let's dive deeper into it.
Yeah, so I can give you a couple of examples from my personal life. I mean, one, my now ex-husband, for many reasons, um, he had intellection, number one. He had analytical. He has discipline. He has talents that are nowhere near who I am normally. When we would go to the movies, when we were first together, and we would go to the movies, we'd buy the ticket, and he'd hand the ticket to me. He'd say, "What theater are we in?" And I would go, theater 8. And he'd go, okay. And he'd look at it and he'd confirm what I said. And then we'd go buy popcorn and he'd hand the ticket over to the cashier at the popcorn counter. And he would say, what theater are we in? And they would go, theater 8. And he would look at it and he would hand it back and he would go, okay. And then he'd find some other random, custodian and be like, hi, what theater are we in? And they go, theater 8. And I'm like, do you think I'm an idiot? Do you think I don't know how to read? I'm like, you can see it. How many people need to tell you we're in theater 8 before you're going to believe them?
I would have done, Joe, if I could interject. Do you remember Snagglepuss, the cartoon character from
Yes. Yes.
I would have,
Yes.
you know what I would have done at that point, first date? Exit, stage left.
I probably should have, all things considered. But when we learned, that was before I learned his talents. Once I learned his talents, I was like, oh, he has a desperate need to confirm and reconfirm and make sure that it is done and he is right. And all right, like, so again, annoying, not my monkey, not my circus, let it go.
Not my monkey, not my circus. From now on, I've never heard that one. From now on, all right, baby, here. She just wants to be on camera.
You need to be a part of this.
Now, Lele, go that way, baby. I'll give you treats later, pumpkin. I'm a crazy. I don't know. You can't see on the shirt.
I
Yes,
had cats.
cats,
I lost my cats recently,
cats and
but
money. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry they
thank
crossed
you.
the Rainbow Bridge. It's a hard thing. Cats are better than people, I think.
Oh,
People,
it was worse than that. My ex-boyfriend got rid of my cats and never gave them back to me.
son of a
That's a whole other story.
son of a fucker. I'm so sorry. He deserves
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not
So,
advocating violence. All right.
um, so that's one of the things. And then I've worked with couples before, right? Like I had a great couple. They'd been married for 44 years and they were like, we need to talk to you because otherwise we're about to get divorced. I'm like, you've been married for 44 years. You obviously have figured something out that most people don't. And they're like, yeah, but things are changing and we need to know. Well, he was all in his head, deliberative, some executing, and she was creative and popcorning and needed to talk it out and relationship building. And she would do it and he like couldn't follow the thread. And I'm like, okay, you've got to let her popcorn. You've got to let her pop around, do all these things. And then you can ask her, which one of these things do you need me to do something with? Which one
Brilliant.
is really important to you?
So
Help me
important.
focus on something. And then I could tell her, hey, he's going to let you popcorn, but you got to know he can't take it all in. So at some point, you got to let him know, I know of everything I just said. This is the really important thing we need to focus on.
That is, Joe, that is so valuable. That's a demonstration of emotional intelligence. And I just want to say, I will make the statement and stand by it. It's a hill I'll die on, that women in particular find emotional intelligence in men to be very attractive. It's also extremely rare.
Yes. And yes,
I know because I had a former career where I taught that under a different name, different persona, and different
I saw that. I was intrigued.
Oh, you did see that. That's not in my bio, is it?
It
Or
came through on one of your it came through as your website on one of the confirmations.
uh-oh, and you still agreed to do this interview. I love it.
Of course, I was just like, this is going to be interesting.
Okay. Can you give us a preview of your upcoming Future of Strengths forum and explain why it's a pivotal moment for your mission? Yeah, let's do that. Unpack.
Yeah. All right. So last year, a very long time dream of launching this Future of Strengths forum came to pass. I had built a community of like minds, and I also love foresight. I'm natural foresight, future thinking, whatever you want to call it. I'm very involved in that space, as well as conscious capitalism. That could be a whole other conversation, but basically conscious business is being intentional with your business creation. And strengths. And so Future of Strengths looks at how do we apply our talents, and our talents don't just live at the office. And Gallup has their lane. They are fully in the corporate space, leadership, management, how you use it there. But I'm still strategic whether I'm at the office or I'm at home. And it may not be used at home the same way it's used at work. And so I want to know how strategic shows up for me as a mom. How does strategic impact how I think and take in the world? And so I have strategic, which means I need options. If you tell me this is the only way to do it, I'll be like, hold my beer. I'll be right back and I will show you 3 other ways we could make this happen. Doesn't mean any of those 3 ways are the right way. I just can't stand the idea that there's only one way to do something. And that can also impact me in negative ways because I can overcomplicate things. Right? But for me, without options, what's the point? But there are other people out there that want one single option. This is the way we do it and do that. That drives me nuts. It's hard for me.
Me
So
too.
Future of Strengths looks at neurodiversity. It looks at inclusion. It looks at families, education, community building, and leadership. And just how do we bring people together and recognize that it is often found that people with ADD or ADHD have focus as a talent. And you would go, what? How do people that have attention deficit have focus as a talent? Well, when focus doesn't get fed, it gets agitated, it gets anxious, it can't recalibrate. Someone with the talent of focus needs to be in the zone. Every person with focus needs to come with a do not disturb sign that they
Yeah.
can flip at any given moment, because when they're in the
Oh,
zone,
yeah.
God forbid you interrupt them, because they may never get back to what they were doing and
It's
it will
cost
piss
me
them off.
relationships. It's cost me relationships where I've had to say to someone I deeply love, care for, would do virtually anything for, you need to leave me alone while I'm writing. Please,
Yeah.
love you. Please give me the space. I don't mean the old, I need my space from you. I need focus to get my work done. Please understand.
And so that's a need, right? There is a prison in Nebraska that uses strengths as part of their rehabilitation program for reintegration. The number one most frequent talent among male inmates, empathy.
They have
So
it. I thought criminals lack empathy.
what happens when we don't feed empathy? What happens when we don't get what we need? It goes off the other direction. So empathy could be a great con man. It could really play on the needs of people.
Oh, yes.
And if you think about the communities that are often incarcerated, poor, Black, brown, like, I mean, that's generalizing, but that is a large percentage
Yep.
of our population
Yep.
in prison, right? Um, Often don't have strong father figures, have strong
Yep.
mother figures, but mothers that can't emotionally be there because they're working 2
Yep.
jobs, 3 jobs to make
Yep.
everything happen. And so you are there with this need to express yourself, with feelings, with understanding the anger and the grief and the sadness and everything around you. And that is all you are absorbing. So when that's all you're absorbing, what do you get to wring out when you're full and saturated? Anger and
Anger,
grief and pain.
violence,
Yep.
sociopathic, antisocial behavior.
Yep.
It's God,
That's why knowing these talents is so powerful, and why I think everyone
whoa.
should know them at a 5th grade
Such a
vocabulary level.
This is such a mind blow for me because I always thought, well, one of the things that makes these people in prison is they're sociopaths because they lack empathy, which I'll still stand by. Some of them are
I'm
sociopaths.
not saying everyone, I'm just saying it's much more frequent than any of us would imagine, because most people would probably hold your perception.
I'm wrong again. No, I'm just kidding with you.
No,
This,
but I mean, this is what I mean about that objectivity, about the ability to look at someone and go, oh, that's where that's coming from. I know you have this talent, and when you're acting like a supreme bitch, it's probably because you're not getting something you need, or you're not
you're
being valued
suffering,
in the way that you need
or you're
to. And if
suffering.
I know that talent, I might actually know what's missing.
Or you're suffering. This is the Buddhist perspective.
Yeah.
So much of what is evil comes from the person suffering on profound levels. And so we have to have insight and compassion first for ourselves and then for the other.
And to do that, you really need to value who you are, not just know who you are, but value who you are. And most of us, while we think we know who we are, we don't necessarily value it,
I
because we're
love
listening to
that.
others to give us our value. We don't find
How
our
much
value
would you
internally.
say that's because we live? I have a brilliant friend who's been on the show twice, a guy by the name of Chase Hughes. And he said the purpose of all marketing is to get us to compare ourselves to others.
Mhm.
And I think when you're comparing yourselves to constantly in comparison, it becomes impossible to value yourself because you're always looking, what about that person who has more than I am? That person who's got more money, more friends, a better social life. better body, better looking, etc.
And what if marketing was more, what do you have to add? What do you bring to the table that's different? What is the value that we do by being different together? We have broken our villages. We have broken our communities by this incessant need to compare instead
Yeah.
of going, oh man, Paul does that really well. I don't need to do that. I'm in the middle of creating, I mean, this has nothing to do with my work. I'm in the middle of creating a project this summer called Rebuild the Village. And I've invited I live in a tiny little space of like 1,700 people, 1.3 square miles, from coming from 22 million in Mexico City. So I'm in this really tiny town now in the US after 14 years of living abroad. My son is 11 years old. I'm a single mom with no family in a place that I've only lived for 6 months. And so I started a project called Rebuild the Village. Rebuilding the Village is inviting all of the adults and older people in our community, and even teenagers if they want to then share their skills, share their wisdom, do storytelling with our youth so that we come back together as community.
That's so needed. I think when communities fall apart, you're finished. I don't care about how many shiny objects are out there, and you're finished. It's in the Bhagavad. I'm showing off my knowledge, but the Bhagavad Gita, which was written 3,000 years before Christ, they talk
Mm-hmm.
about family is diminished, society collapses. So true,
And we're living it.
and we're living
We're
it.
living it.
We are actually 3 minutes over our time because you've been such a fascinating guest. Two things. First of all, I know the audience is going to want to stay in the conversation with you. So how do they do that? What are the best? We'll put it in the show notes as well, but I want to hear it from you here.
I think the best way to get a hold of me, you can check out the website. My websites are changing, so don't be surprised if you go in today and it looks different tomorrow. But discoverjoeself.com, or you can find me as Joe Self. If you look up Joe Self in Google and look up practical strengths, I've got books. I'll be the first person you find.
Wait, you wrote a book and you never held
I've
it
got several. In fact,
up?
yeah.
Pick one at random and hold it up for our audience to see. What is
So
it?
practical strengths communication styles.
Love it. Love
So
it. Love
these are all available on Amazon Kindle and paperback. They're available globally. They're $11 for a paperback and $3 for a Kindle.
And don't you just love as an Amazon author those $1.50 royalties they put in your KDP account?
You know what? I'll take what I can get. Most of that's going to start going to my nonprofit. I'm actually going to show this one to you. This is 52 Sparks. This is a journal
Stop it.
that is 52 prompts to get you talking and doing things with your neighbors around you to create spark circles and get connected. So everything I'm doing is really just trying to get people talking again. Get curious, have a conversation, recognize that it's okay not to agree. Ugh.
Good luck. All
Yeah,
right,
I know.
you've been a wonderful guest. Stay on for just a brief after show green room chat. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we disconnected the dots, colored outside the lines, and we thought outside the box with our wonderful guest, Joe Self. And so I'll close by saying, as I always do, to the hostile alien armada hovering just outside of Earth's atmosphere in their cloaked spaceships, remember, eat the Canadians first. And we'll see you on the next episode.
The Influencer's Edge is brought to you by the Rapid Sales Accelerator. If you're ready to skyrocket your sales by 30% or more in just 90 days, then you need to claim your free training right now. You'll learn 4 words that will compel your prospects to trust you like they were children within the first 3 to 5 minutes of any conversation across any platform and any medium. You'll learn how to give your prospects objection amnesia, to crush objections like, I need to talk to my spouse, or I need more time to think it over, or it's too expensive. If you'd like to claim your free training now, go to www.paulrossbook.com. Do it before your competition does it now. Thank you for tuning in to the Influencer's Edge, where you get the latest breakthroughs, cutting-edge insights, tools, and techniques so you can leapfrog over the pack in sales, influence, and persuasion. Remember to visit our website at www.theinfluencersedge.com to enjoy even more great episodes like this one. We look forward to seeing you again on the Influencer's Edge Show.